I believe every genre has their moment. And
Yeah.
superheroes right now, we're experiencing the Renaissance, as they say. We're experiencing a time when it's at its peak. Um, a lot of stories, like you said, are inspired by comic books, and the market's there. Video
Yeah.
games are
Yeah.
Miles. They made a Miles Morales video game for Spider-Man for the
Yeah.
PS5 launch. Like that's huge. That's huge,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and it's just gonna keep going and keep going until they run out of ideas. One of the things that I'm kind of on the fence about is this show I see looming called What If, and that's basically what if certain events in the Marvel universe never happen. And I was joking around with a friend on one of the podcasts saying, "Isn't that just a cheap way to tell another story and make money?" Right? Like an alternative version. It's like us
Yeah.
writing an alternative version of crack. Like, what if he
Yeah.
never had
Yeah.
mental illness?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, how would his life be? But
But see,
again,
I kind of sorry. I don't
yeah,
want to
no,
cut
no,
you
go
off because
ahead.
I'm curious to see where you're gonna where
I was
that
just gonna
thought's
say,
leading
like,
you.
we can't judge though, right? As much as
No.
I'm poking fun, I'm being a bit of a shit. We can't judge unless we see it for ourselves, and I'm a huge firm believer on that. So I'm not gonna judge it further until I watch it, right? Like
Yeah.
that series.
I mean, I agree with you, and I think that most people now have kind of adopted a certain level of patience towards these big budget films because again they've seen that filmmakers even in that genre are willing and able to execute well thought
Mhm.
out stories within it. But the What If series for me is quite intriguing because of the familiarity people have with so many of these storylines and
Mhm.
so many of these characters. The story of Spider-Man and Captain America and all these well known established characters in pop culture. Really, they're
The
not even just
icons,
like comic.
icons,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're icons. They're giants. Um, but like now to kind of force people to reconcile what they thought they knew with this brand new, potentially inversed uh, interpretation of them, I think comes with a lot of possibilities. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's just say that. I
Right.
feel like if they go if they really kind of push the envelope and there's been nothing to kind of make me think that they're not, I think that it's going to be a really interesting take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my biggest concern is because as you were speaking, I'm just thinking, even, as much as I'm enjoying WandaVision, I can't help but think, instead of it being always the villain of the month or the day or whatever have you, what's the stake? Like, what's the big looming threat? The
Yeah.
MCU, the reason why I give it credit is, yes, it was going on for like 22 films, but
Mhm.
everyone knew that it was going to end somehow with this Thanos threat that was first introduced in the Avengers. And we didn't know
Mhm.
much about him. We didn't know, or at least I didn't, but someone like yourself
Mhm.
who's in comic books, right? You knew probably his backstory and where it was going to lead. But for someone like me that was just watching it from an average audience perspective, I uh, I didn't really know what to make of it, but I was excited. I was intrigued. I was saying to myself, how could it end? I remember watching Infinity War. See, Endgame, as much as I enjoyed it, Infinity
Mhm.
War was like edge of the seat because I
Yeah.
really didn't know how far they were going to take it, and I didn't know,
Yeah.
like when Tony Stark gets stabbed
Yeah.
by Thanos with his own blade. I was like, oh, that's it, because I knew. Again, this is what kind of sucks, but it's where reality kind of
I know where you're going with it.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
in where it's like, Robert Downey Jr. in real life, he's a
Contracts
person,
and yeah.
contracts, and right. We
Yeah.
we know this
Yeah.
as filmmakers too.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
legalities. It's the way it is.
Sure.
I'm saying to
Yeah.
myself, is he really gonna be in the phase 4? Probably not. So he's gonna
Mhm.
die in either this movie or the next movie. That's why I didn't
Mhm.
get choked up when he did die in Endgame. I was probably one of the few
Mhm.
people that I was like nodding my head, like, okay, that was a good way
Yeah.
that they sent them off. Because I'm saying you're gonna have to kill him. How are you gonna do it? That was the
Yeah.
biggest concern for me. Everyone else
Yeah.
was like, my buddy was like texting me gifs, and I was just like, I don't know, like it was emotional, but it needed to be done. You know
Yeah. It
what I
needed
mean?
to be
Like that
done.
was the send
Absolutely.
off for the character. And
And not just the send off, man.
yeah,
It was from a story, from a character arc standpoint. And this is, I'm sure, been
exactly.
analyzed to death
Hmm.
now at this point because of how well versed the audiences are now. But from a character arc standpoint, that was the not just the logical conclusion of his character arc in the way that it was going, but it was also the most rewarding for
Hmm.
if you considered yourself a Tony Stark or an Iron Man fan within the MCU, then what better ending after being called selfish, not a team player, blah blah blah,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
for him to do that, like that's about as good as it gets, right? And like I agree with you though on one point, and I'm glad you said it. I don't think a lot of people would agree with you, even though if they thought about it for a minute, they probably would.
Mhm.
Infinity War was the more dynamic movie. For me, I enjoyed Endgame more because of my comic book
Mhm.
background and everything. I enjoyed Endgame more because of the fan service, right? Like
Right.
the the scene, the Avengers assemble scene, like it never till now fails to give me like goosebumps and shit. So I
Yeah.
think that
Like
that
that
for me
scene,
was,
the ending
yeah,
scene.
oh, that's epic. That's gonna go down in cinematic history. But
Avenger.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Daniel. Infinity War was definitely the wilder ride of the two.
I think
Definitely
that's
more
yeah.
suspenseful.
I want to just mention something. I think this is why we gravitate to each other, and why especially yourself, because you've come to me with the notion of you're very into dark and gritty storytelling. I don't know if anyone picked it up yet, but I'm a very crazy guy in the sense that I'm the kind of guy where I would kill off Tony Stark in Infinity War,
Same.
throw off the audience, and like
Hmm.
that stab, because what it
Hmm.
is that it puts the characters in a situation of how do we avenge this person that died for
Yeah.
us, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
that fought to the end. And it also is a feeling of despair for the audience,
Hmm.
like uncertainty. If I could put the
Hmm.
audience in a believable place of uncertainty, there's
Hmm.
something so
There's an
satisfying.
accomplishment.
There's an
100%.
accomplishment, and then when you can reward them in a different way. Now, it's not the ending that, maybe it's not the way they want it to happen, but guess
Hmm.
what? That's reality. And that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to make a point that I forgot. You were talking about how, people want this thing about interpretation. They want everything to be open to interpretation because they feel like that's a good story, but yet they want everything to be wrapped up in a nice bow.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, unless you're jumping the shark, why is it that people yell at the screen and say, "Oh my God, why did that happen? Why didn't he just like hit him? Why didn't he?" Reality happens, life
Hmm.
happens. People don't
Hmm.
do things that make sense. Why did
Hmm.
you lose a job after dedicating 25 years of your life at a company?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
things just happen. And what I'm trying to get at is, sometimes when we watch movies, I think the best movies are the ones where we can acknowledge and say, you know what, maybe that just happened. Obviously, we have to justify it in our writing. We can't just throw things out there and expect the audience to buy it.
Hmm.
But sometimes things, like you said with Prometheus, I believe from a filmmaker standpoint, maybe they're just leaving it open ended, and maybe allowing the audience to ask so many questions, because that is religion. That
Hmm.
is how we look at our
Absolutely.
our faith system. There are
Yeah.
people constantly. The Bible exists, but yet there are people that are still questioning death. Why are they
Yeah.
questioning where you go if it's written in the Bible? Because life is about interpretation. That's the human experience. That is the human condition. We
Hmm.
are meant to always ask questions, to always never be satisfied. It's what drove us forward. It's what drove us to this place in existence.